Again, we're going to get started here in just a few seconds. Hopefully everybody can see the screen. It should say your 2021 internet marketing plan, how to maximize your lead flow in the new year. Silly picture of me, all that good stuff. Feel free to just throw any questions you have, any comments in chat. I will be checking that as we walk through this. Ideally, we'll try and keep this under an hour if we can. No promises. I will rapidly fire through this. I mentioned in chat, there's a orthoadvertising.com/workbook. If you want to download it, it's not required. But you know, any time you want to take notes or anything like that, feel free to do so. Again, I'll try and keep this as quick as possible because I know you guys are all busy. But if you do have any questions and I don't address them in this, feel free to ping me afterwards. I'm going to make sure I put in my email and my cell phone into chat as well in case you'd like to hit me up via those. And I just sent that to Becca alone. Sorry, I'm going to give that one again. All right, and cell phone. So just give it another minute for any stragglers. I know people are busy. I know you guys are busy, so I don't want to waste your time waiting for people, but I do want to just make sure that we follow along if we can. Cool. So I know that there are a couple of people that registered said they can't make it, so there will be a recording of this for you if you need to jump off. I understand again that it's holiday times are starting. We've got the coronavirus issues, all that stuff. So if you do need to hop off, there will be a recorded version sent to you via email after this. But let's go ahead and get started. If again, if more people jump in here in the next few minutes, awesome. If not, that's fine too. So again, we're going to talk about your 2021 internet marketing plan today. What we're going to cover. Talk specifically about setting goals for 2021, how many leads you really need to hit your target. One of the things that I've learned when talking with dentists and orthodontists most is they're always asking me for the plan and saying, what are you going to bring me? Without actually having a set goal in place of where they need to be. So my job to provide advertising strategies and the like is usually based on kind of what your goals are. So if you tell me you need 5 clients a month or 50 clients a month, obviously the strategy is going to be a little different based on those, and we'll dig into that. The 3 fundamentals of marketing success really to give you some basics that you should be working on through 2021. We're going to talk about optimizing your website for conversion and this year and beyond, some key points, and then big picture of all the online marketing channels you should be tapping into to maximize your lead flow. So really there are some, again, key components that everybody needs to follow. And then one of the things that we're going to really talk about is the newer trends that you need to stay focused on for 2021. And then, of course, we're going to talk about a custom action plan for you and your practice based on where you are now and what you need to do now to reach those goals. So hopefully this is going to give you some really good insight. I do ask that you turn off your cell phones, get off Facebook. If you're a dental practice or orthodontic practice, I know there's some people that are actually ad agencies that have registered for this that will also be paying attention. But hopefully during the next 60 to 90 minutes, hopefully keeping it under 60, it'll change your life. And what I mean by that is it's going to change the way that you operate your practice. And hopefully the benefits will come in financial gains that will change the way your life is moving in the future. So where you are now doesn't need to be where you are in 6 months. And again, just adding a certain amount of patience can make that happen. And some of you are looking to just keep the lights on. Some of you are trying to get out of your practice. We're going to talk about ways to really help everybody's going to have different goals, but really hopefully we'll be talking about how to make sure that happens for each of you. If you stay to the end, we are going to be covering a couple different things. I'll provide you with some bonuses like keywords that most orthodontic practices need to be targeting with their Google ads, with their SEO, stuff like that. Give you a dental marketing checklist that you can follow along with. And again, Josh, just saw you jump in. Welcome. I know we spoke with you yesterday. Glad to have you on board here. Again, we're just going to recap, kind of what needs to be done for 2021 to make sure that your practice goes to the next level. So some of you I've spoken with, some of you I haven't. Who am I? Why you should be listening to me? My name's Adam, obviously. Married. I have 3 children. I live in Philly. That's me on the bottom on the picture here. And then on the right here. I am a terrible golfer, but I have gotten a lot better over the past couple months. I'm shooting about 88 as my last score. Usually I'm a pretty bad golfer. I have written a number of books. I have written specifically this book, Author of the Complete Guide to Orthodontic Advertising. I know most of you haven't bought it because it's not getting a lot of sales on Amazon, but hey, that's okay. If you want one because you jumped in here, I will be happy to send you one. Just email me your address, and I will send you 100 pages of goodness here for this book. I've been published in many publications: Dentistry IQ, Social Media Today, Business Community, blah 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 blah. Worked with hundreds of small businesses. In my current life, focusing on dental practices is one thing. I've worked for an ad agency and had a couple different ad agencies throughout my career. So I've worked with tons of small to mid-sized businesses, both in the U.S. and internationally. So I understand what kind of needs to be done for your practice to really dominate locally, and we'll cover that. Lots of certifications, awards, all that. Who really cares? Let's get into the good stuff. So who do we work with? Really specifically, we're working with local dentists and orthodontic practices. We're not looking to work with people that have 35 different offices. We're looking to to work with practices that offer high revenue services like braces, aligners, implants, working with sleep apnea, stuff like that. The reason that we do that, and I do have local dentists that just are, pediatric dentists that don't offer that stuff. But the goal is we want to work with somebody that really can offer a high revenue service, because if you need 100 new patients every single month just to keep the lights on, you're spinning your wheels significantly. And the goal being is that the more high revenue patients that come in, the less patients you require to reach your goals. So really what we want to do is make sure that we either are offering them now or that we are working towards offering some kind of value ladder of services. And what that means is, you can bring somebody in for a whitening, but once you have them in the chair, make sure you're talking about different service offerings that are going to move up the value ladder. And we'll talk about that later, but really we want to maximize revenue from each patient that we can get. And we'll cover that today. So the big question is, what's the hardest part about marketing your practice online? And ideally, this is not going to be me just talking to you and you guys listening. I would love to get some feedback. So in the chat, if you could just let me know, one, if you're listening, what's the hardest part about marketing your practice currently for you? Like, what are you struggling with? What do you want to learn about? The more you guys can give me as far as feedback, the more I can cater this presentation for you. But, really it helps to understand kind of what your pain points are so that I can address them, just like, one of your patients. If your patient just comes in and sits in a chair and doesn't say anything, it's kind of really hard to get started for you, really hard to address exactly what they need. So the more information I can get from you guys, the better. So if there's anything specific, whether it be, again, just finding leads, whether it be converting leads, if it's, finding out how to brand your practice properly, talk to me about that. Feel free to enter that in the chat. And, again, I will address that stuff as it comes up. But if you just want to sit back and listen, that's okay. I've got a presentation prepared. So, one thing that I posted earlier about, if you haven't already, get the workbook, orthoadvertising.com/workbook. Rob, I saw it, and we'll address that in a few moments, because it's a good question. His concern obviously is about restrictions from governing body and who to trust with content. So we'll address that. Thank you for entering that in. So let's talk about the why. Why are we having this presentation? Why do people struggle? And usually it's because there's so many different options. We're unclear about where to spend your budget, whether it be, again, on the advertising platforms, whether it be on getting good quality content. Do I invest in my website? There's just so many different places to be and do things, and what's the best course of action. So we're going to get into that. Really the key components a lot of times are going to be, again, what I call the blocking and tackling of marketing. It's going to be the SEO. It's going to be the paid search. It's going to be the websites, your social media, getting repeat customers. How do we retain those people? Are we jumping into paid online directories? Do we have a good patient referral program? All that stuff. So, we know from working with practices like yourselves and just generally in the marketing, how expensive it can be, and that it's a significant investment. I know I've spoken to certain people that have said, "Hey, I just don't have time for that right now. The business isn't doing great enough to invest in it," and so we want to be cognizant of that factor. However, we do need to make sure that we have a good plan in place for that. So, a lot of people do a lot of investing in their marketing, and don't have a lot to show for it. They've been burned by crappy agencies. Yes, Josh, there will be a copy of this. It will be recorded, so absolutely you will see this. But a lot of people are unsure of what the best way to get a return on investment is, and how to evaluate an agency. So we're going to talk about that. Who can you trust? Who's going to get you that return on investment, because you've been burned, you've spent a ton of money, and it's gone nowhere. So we'll cover that. But one of the things that we want to talk about is, if you don't have a clear plan, you can absolutely overspend, and worse, you can underspend or underperform. So one of the things that I hear a lot in consultations is, "Hey, you know what? I'm not sure if I want to work with you or not. Is there a way we can just spend $200 and give it a trial?" Yes, absolutely. There's ways to work with stuff like that when you don't invest heavily. However, you're just bound to fail if you throw just a couple dollars at your marketing plan and not invest significantly. Now, I understand that there has to be a trust factor working with myself or our agency or any other agency. But at the end of the day, you have to be willing to invest in your marketing in order to get a return on investment. And again, if you are selling something, let's just say you're doing Invisalign, and it's going to cost $4,500 for the customer. For you to only invest $200 and expect great results, you're kind of missing the boat. If you expect to get 3 new Invisalign patients from $200, then you're kind of trying to trap lightning in a bottle. And just the same, if they walked into you and said, "Hey, look, I know Invisalign's $4,500. How about if I just give you $200? What can I do for you?" Right? There's an expectation, and there's no way to deliver that expectation if you don't invest. And so just the same, it's going to be that way with your marketing dollars. So the opportunity, we're going to talk about a clear plan with goals, targets, and KPIs. That way you can understand exactly what you need to do to have a great return on your investment. So when that happens, you're going to have success, you're going to maximize your lead flow, and you're going to hit your sales goals for 2021. So let's talk specifically about setting clear goals. And again, I doubt that every business that I talk to will ever even do this, even if we talk about setting goals. But I can't stress enough how important it is to set clear goals. Success is goals, all else is commentary. That's Brian Tracy. He's a pretty well-known guy for goal setting. But really what I want to know is, as you set your goals, are you setting them based on just revenue? Or is it based on, on your total new patients? Is it where you want to be outside of your business? Do you want to travel more? Do you want to be able to spend more time with your kids? Do you want to buy that new house, that new vacation home, stuff like that? That's all stuff that you need to really focus on when setting your goals. And so many people just kind of jump in a boat and they expect it to be great. Like, here's a picture of a sailboat where somebody has no wind. They're not going anywhere because they bought a boat, but they didn't really plan ahead to know if it was going to be a day where they could have wind that's going to carry them. So the goal being, or the idea being, when you have clear goals, you have wind in your sails. And so you've already done the hard work and you've prepared yourself so that you can meet those goals and reach the objectives that you have. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with this Harvard study or not, but in 1979, there was an interview of all Harvard grads. 84% of them had no specific goals. 13% had goals but not written them down. 3% of them had clear written goals and plans to accomplish them. The results, the 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84% who had no goals at all. Now, I just want you to reread that again. The 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the people with no goals. Even more staggering, the 3% who actually had clear goals, wrote them down, were earning 10 times as much as the other 97%. So again, as we talk about the importance of goal setting, understand that sometimes just doing the process can make a difference. Even if you don't really work tremendously hard to fulfill that goal, having the goal in place can really make a significant difference. So the goal setting framework, and again, I'm going to take a breath for water, and I know I talk fast, so if I am going too fast for anybody, please let me know to slow down in the chat or anything like that. So again, we've established you need to have written goals and plans. You need to set at a minimum a 1-year goal. I do suggest that you have a 1-year, a 5-year, a 10-year plan, but you should have a 1-year goal, and then what you want to do is break that down into a quarterly goal and then monthly goals. You must have a stopping point at the beginning of each new year and each new quarter to reflect how you did based on what you set for your goal and what you're doing to going forward. So what I want to make sure you understand is, again, just setting that goal is one thing, but having that plan in place and then checking the results is going to be the difference maker for you. If you want to say, hey, we want to hit $5 million in revenue this year, and on a 1-year goal, you just wait until that year is over, it's going to be a lot harder to reach that goal than if you're checking on it monthly. And again, if you check after the first month and say, hey, you know what, our goal is 5 million, we hit 800,000, are we on pace? Are we reaching the plan? And establish, again, a new goal if you're under it, or if you're ahead of goal, awesome, maybe you reset that goal. But understanding what you've done right and what you've done wrong is really critical for that. So I think that's a very important piece to that. Let's see. Welcome to Maria. I know you just jumped in late. There will be a recording here. If you do have any questions or any things you want just type them into the chat. But you haven't really missed too much. We're just talking about goal setting right now. So what is your revenue target? Break it down how much that is monthly. How many calls will that require? So now we start to talk about how we implement the goals. Thinking about how many new patients we're going to require. What is your average transaction value? So if you know that your average transaction value is $3,500 per new patient, or if it's less, or if it's more, how does that factor in? So again, we're going to talk about about your goals. What is your revenue target? Let's just say it was $2 million. How much does that break down to monthly? That's going to be $166,000 and change. So what is your average transaction value? $3,500. How many new starts will that require? That's going to require 48 per month if you're starting from new. And again, simply we're dividing monthly target by average transaction value. So one thing that I know is in the presentation later, I'm going to put it in the chat so that you guys can work with me alongside this here. And it's going to be orthoadvertising.com/worksheet. And that will take you to a workbook or worksheet that will hopefully, and let's just see if I can show you this. It'll take you to a Google Doc that you can then download on your own, and hopefully you can see this. But basically, it's a lead generation target planner. And so again, all these numbers are going to be here so that you can work with them. Hopefully you can see this on your screen. I'm not sure if you can or not, but hopefully you can. But again, really what we're doing is how many leads are you going to need to get the calls that you need to get the new starts that you need? So we're going to kind of just be working backwards on that. So what is your average conversion rate from caller or lead to book call? important stuff to know. I know I was talking to one of the guys on here that's on yesterday, and we were talking about what the conversion rates are and what the cost to acquire a new lead is, and it's really hard to look at that when you don't have any conversions, or if you haven't been tracking that. So it's really important as you start to talk about budgets and making sure that you have the right plan in place, is understanding exactly where you are or where you need to be to reach those goals. So let's see here. How many leads we need? So what is your average conversion rate from caller to book call? So again, that's somebody who's calling the office. How many of those are you actually converting into consultations? Multiply your call target by your conversion rate. So if there's 48 calls, we divide that by 50% conversion rate. We know that we need 96 new leads per month to reach that $5 million goal. So again, it's all in the worksheet that I hopefully shared you, and you can access, and you can edit and play with the numbers based on your numbers there, and it will kind of auto populate where you need to be. But again, and here's that worksheet. So really what you can do is start to figure out where your goal needs to be. What do you want to do at the top line? What's that revenue goal? That will break down into a monthly target. And then again, as we edit these things, let's just say the number is $5 million. It's gonna change everything. So if it's a $5 million target, the revenue target's going to be $416,000. If we have a different treatment plan price, let's just say it's $4,000 of our average new customer, then a treatment plan starts that we require would be 104 new starts. And from there, again, if we're closing 50%, it would require 208 new leads per month. So, understanding that what your lead requirement is just part of that number. Now we have to understand what our cost per generated lead is. So what does it cost, whether I'm doing TV, radio, whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's Google, whether it's, people that I'm advertising on somebody's, their little league, what's generating the leads, and what does it cost to bring in a new lead? And then from there, how much do I need to budget in order to hit my target? So again, somebody based on the numbers that I'm looking at right now, if they have a $5 million goal and they need 104 new starts per month at a $25 cost per generated lead, they're going to need to spend $5,200 per month to get that goal. Now, that's the important number, is when that person says, hey, can I only spend $100 or $500 per month with you to get results? Yes, you can get results, but will they reach the goals that you have? Will they keep the lights on? Will they bring in a partner? Will they help you sell the practice? Will they help you retire early? These are the things that you need to map out. And it's not just something that you should push onto your ad agency and say, hey, I need to hit goals, get it done for me. The best performing clients that we have are talking with us on a monthly basis and saying, hey, here's my revenue goal. What do you think I need to be doing to get 50 new starts, to get 20 new starts, to get 105 new starts? And that way we can say, hey, based on past performance and based on what we see with other clients, here's a number that you should be working with. So, if your budget should be 5,000 and you only have 1,000, then you have to manage your expectations. So maybe the revenue goal can't be $5 million if you're only willing to spend $1,000 per month. And so I wanted to just share this stuff with you, because this is a critical component in your success, but it's also what's going to help you understand what the ad agency's responsibilities are, or my responsibilities are working with you as a client. So I don't want you to come to me and say, hey, I've got a $3 million goal and I'm only willing to spend $1,000 a month and have an expectation that it's going to deliver on that. Now, we may start at $1,000 a month to see what's working in your market. But again, that's where we have to have that monthly conversation and say, here's the goal, here's where we are, here's where I want to be, and here's what I'm willing to spend. And that way we can talk about your expectations and make sure that I'm delivering on them, but also keep me in check. Like, hey, why aren't we hitting these numbers? Or, hey, we blew through that. I appreciate your business. How can I spend more money? Now that we're doing it with Facebook ads, can we invest in SEO, in paid search? Should we be looking at cable? Should we be doing billboards, stuff like that? So don't forget your value ladder. So most successful practices, as I talked about earlier, offer a value ladder of some sort. Now, your value ladder might be different if you're an orthodontist versus a general dentist. But this is a simple example is, getting somebody on a new lead, a new promotion of a teeth cleaning. Hey, we've got a, $19 teeth cleaning special, or, maybe it's a free teeth cleaning, or we're offering free x-rays, or we're offering X to get you in the door. What do you do then once they're in the door and once they become a patient? What are you selling them on next? So really what we want to do is hook them in with a great offer, then offer more value and a more expensive high ticket service to them once you have them as a patient. So again, this example, it shows teeth cleaning, whitening, retainer, cosmetic, also keeping them on a general 6-month plan. The goal is not to have a one and done customer. And so one of the things I like about a high ticket service, again, when we talked about, a high ticket revenue item, is because even if you don't get them for the next 10 years, you've made a decent amount of revenue. Now, the people that have that free $19 offer or whatever for teeth cleaning, they get a lot of churn. And so what they find is they require 100 new patients a month to get them to reach their goals because they're not executing on the value ladder, or they don't have a plan in place specifically to bring in those new patients and then say, hey, now that you took advantage of the teeth cleaning, let me get you a whitening. Or, hey, by the way, did you know you had a cavity? Or, hey, you know what? You'd be a great patient for our Invisalign product. Or, hey, you know what? Are you comfortable with your cross bite? Here's something that other patients are doing similar to you. Let's talk about that. So it's really critical to have a value ladder in place that will help you to reach some goals. And again, introductory grade offers could include free cleanings, discount whitenings, free x-rays, free cleanings, and can lead to higher ticket services like implants, cosmetic procedures, Invisalign. 80% of more of your revenue stream will often come from 20% of your patients. Now, again, with orthodontic work, it's going to be that, maybe it's a big family who refers a lot of patients. It could be something like that. But generally speaking, there is a principle in place where 80% of your revenue stream will often come from 20% of your clients. And 80% of the work that you have done gets done by 20% of the people in the office. 80% of the leads that come into your office will come from 20% of the lead options that you have, whether it be Facebook, Google Ads, or something like that. So there is generally a rule of thumb there. And what we then want to do is just maximize from there. So goals. What is your goal for 2021? How many leads will you need monthly to get there? Again, what I want you to do is not just take this passively. I want you to be involved in this process, and I want you to actively set your goals, whether it be with yourself, with your ad agency, with your spouse, with your children. Get involved, talk about what you need to do, post them on your mirror at home, in the bathroom. Understand what you need to do and how you need to get there. So the fundamentals of marketing, once we understand what the goal is, let's talk about how do we implement that. So we're going to talk about the message, the market, and the media, the who, what, why, and how. So what we really want to focus on, number 2, is updating our marketing message. Now that we know the goal, how do we get there? Who is your ideal customer? So I know that who my ideal customer is. What do we do to get percentage leads? How do we track leads? We're going to talk about tracking specifically a little bit later. So if you are patient with me, I promise we're going to get there. What we want to do is first understand who we're getting, and then we're going to talk about how we're tracking those results and whether they're the right person for us. So I will get to that very shortly, Dr. Van Galen. So who is your ideal customer avatar? So, really what we want to do, and this is in that workbook as well. What we want to do is talk about who is coming to our practice. What pains and frustrations do they have? What fears and implications? What are their goals and desires? What are their dreams and aspirations? So who is your ideal customer avatar? This is just generally speaking, probably a good idea, but homeowner, 35 plus years old, that means they probably have a little bit more disposable income. They're married, they have kids, they're the head of the household, they're family oriented, they're easily frustrated, they're very social. Typically they like gardening, crafts, arts, they live in the suburbs, they take an interest in their community. Pains and frustrations, they have a cosmetic issue or oral concern. They can't get a dental office on the phone or return their call. We're going to talk about how to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. They're too busy to deal with it. Quite frankly, if they're married, they have 2-3 kids, they have a job, they're running little Bobby to soccer practice. They're head of their PTA. They've got a lot of stuff going on. They need to make sure that you are a practice that can help them with their problems. And so part of your messaging needs to address people that have those issues, that can't get people to respond, that are too busy, that they're worried that the situation in their mouth could be unhealthy for their future. What are their fears and implications? Being ripped off or overcharged, how much is covered by their dental insurance? How much is going to be covered out of pocket? Having to wait around in a dental office for hours. Nowadays is it a safe and clean environment? How do I know that I'm not going to get the COVID when I show up in the dental practice? How do I know that the bill's not going to be too high or more than expected? These are the things that are running through your patients' heads that you need to address. And if you're not addressing them in your messaging, then it's harder and harder to convert them into clients. And this is going to be laid out in the ad itself, in the follow-up, in what they see on the website. All these things are going to be critical pieces in understanding how to make the message right for that customer avatar. Now, again, for a orthodontic client, we're really generally not going to be targeting people that are 85 years or older, right? We're usually going to be targeting a certain core customer. And so every single customer avatar is going to be different. Some of your practices are going to tend to focus on more female-oriented customers. Some are going to tend to work more with young children. Some are going to be focusing on the new business focused 25-year-old hotshot that's trying to make sure that he or she has the best smile when going into client meetings. You're going to figure out who your clientele is, and that once you start to understand that, you'll find that it's easier to get certain clients based on who you are and what's worked before. So rather than trying to reach everybody, rather than trying to be all things to all people, kind of like we're doing ortho advertising, we're focused on a specific niche. You want to understand who and what your niche is. So when we talk about customer avatars, we want to know, again, what their pain points are, what they're afraid of, and more importantly, what they're looking to get from your service. What are their life goals? Are they looking to get the smile that other people covet? Quite frankly, I'm sure you know this very well. More and more people are taking the selfie picture and they want to have the right smile for that. And so just simply addressing that in your marketing can make a difference. You can't do it on Facebook ads, but you can do it on your website. You can talk about the before and after and why it changed Bob's life once he got a new set of teeth, how he was more comfortable, how he was able to be more confident in the sales meetings, be more confident with his spouse. These are things that are really, really important to people. And once you start talking to that emotional trigger, the sale becomes a much easier thing to reach than if you're just talking about, this is what it is, this is the price point, this is why we think you need it. If you start to talk about a customer avatar and talk to that individual, and it might be Sally, who's 35 years old, has kids in private school, drives a Suburban, has a shore house, and I live in Philadelphia, so we call it the shore, but has a home in a vacation destination. Like once you start to paint that picture and you start to gear your marketing to that individual, that's who starts to come into the practice. And if you want them as the customer, you need to make them the customer avatar. So hopefully you understand that point. The old saying is, if you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones's eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys. That's a tongue twister. So again, staying with message, market, media, we want to make sure we craft our message. So why should someone choose to do business with you versus the competition? List 3 things out. What are your strengths? What is your messaging? What benefits do you offer that your target customer avatar will resonate with? So here's a simple marketing secret. And again, I appreciate everybody's time, so I'm going to run through this real quick. Combining a unique selling proposition with a unique mechanism. Now, you've probably heard the term USP or unique selling proposition. What makes you different? What I'm going to add is the unique mechanism is going to show your prospect that this is the missing piece to getting the results they want, and we're going to give it a specific name. Now, there's a reason for this. It's, you're going to show where you're going. You're going to show people why others aren't as good, or why every other orthodontic practice or every other dentist isn't going to solve their specific problem, because they do not have this unique mechanism that will fix their problem once and for all. And this is always going to be unique to you. So our job as marketers is to educate them that the real reason the other solutions aren't as good is because they're missing that one crucial piece. Again, here's something that really you've probably seen if you're familiar with P90X, the muscle confusion system, bigger gains, greater fat loss. This is the beach body. Like, everybody and their mother has seen a commercial for how to lose weight, but the P90X system is different. The Z-Quiet mouthpiece, the living hinge technology is unique to Z-Quiet and holds the mouthpiece in place, blah, 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 right? Prevent pain bleed with patented paint block technology. Now, for that last one, there's like 108 different painter's tapes. The difference on this one particular painter's tape is that they have paint block technology. Now, what is it? It could be something, it could be nothing. It could be just something that's specific to their company, and they're using that. But the customer, the prospect, doesn't know what P90X is yet. They don't know what Z-Quiet mouthpiece is. They don't know what paint block is. So they may be missing out on some critical information there. So what's your message? Now we can get to the media part of it. So we want to make sure your hub converts. So once we drive traffic to, from Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook or Google or YouTube, where are they going? Usually they're going to a website that is going to convert them. So want to quickly talk about your website setup and whether it's set up to convert visitors into leads. So real quick, some key components. This is Oakland Family Dental. Dr. Sheehan does a tremendous job. I'm going to cover a couple quick points of making sure that people see what they need to see when landing on the website. So I believe in what's called a 10-foot test. And really what that means is if somebody's looking at your website from 10 feet away, is it clear what the call to action is? For them, if you stepped away 10 feet from your monitor or from your phone, could you see what they want you to do? They want you to click on the virtual consultations button. They want you to pick up the phone and dial. This was taken, screenshotted for Thanksgiving. But really what we're seeing is you can play the video. You see Dr. Sheehan in action. It's not a picture of just a random smile of just anybody. It's a very specific picture for somebody in their work. And again, you can see an example at Oakland Family Dental, but really clear calls to action of what they want you to do, but more importantly, showing the work in progress. So as people land on your website, coming from Facebook, coming from, from again, whether it be Google or a social media post or whatever advertising, or just if they showed up randomly because they found your website from somebody else, what do you want them to do? What is the next step? We talk about marketing funnels in my world, and really what a funnel is taking them from point A to B to C to D to E and getting them to go in the direction you want them to go in. If I want them to pick up the phone and dial, this phone number should be gigantic, right? If I want them to watch a video, make it clear and obvious. If I want them to go for the virtual consultations button, clear and obvious, don't make them think, is really what it's all about. So, is your website set up for conversion? Does it speak to your target avatar? And again, we talked about the customer avatar. Does it address their fears, their frustrations, and speak to why they should choose you? Does it have an authentic image of your team, or is it some generic stock photography? Does it include video elements to your website, like website video, welcome video, video for each one of your services? If you offer different services, does it demonstrate how it's done, and more importantly, what the benefit is to that person? Does it showcase your online reviews, on the homepage, or do you have a review section, a testimonial section? Does it make it clear that action so that they can get in touch with the company? Again, phone number, whether it be some kind of credibility with authority symbols, whether you've got certifications. These are things that are really important to have on your website so people can see them. Again, the important thing for me is always a call to action, because if I'm providing a lead to your business, I want to make sure they take action from that website. So we want to make sure that they can pick up the phone and dial, whether they can submit their information through email. Are you giving them an opportunity to engage via chat? Are you leveraging marketing automation and text messaging to maximize conversion rates? So we'll get into that in a few minutes here. Again, pull up your website right now. Ask other people to look at your website. If you're walking down the street, pull out your website on your phone. See if it's good on mobile devices. But more importantly, ask some stranger, hey, what would you do first when looking at my website here? What's the clear call to action? Get in the mind of somebody who doesn't know who you are and what they're supposed to be doing, and you'll understand exactly what the friction is for why people maybe aren't engaging your business. So I found a lot of times just pulling out a phone and saying, what would you do first? Somebody's going to be like, well, what am I supposed to do? And it's like, well, if it's not clear to you what you're supposed to do, then I haven't done a good enough job setting up the website for conversion. So what we want to do is make it clear, click here, call here. We want to be very specific with that so that they understand it. So the biggest marketing issue facing dental practices today is unconverted leads. So again, this is where I think Dr. Van Gillen had to jump off, but this is where we're going to talk about conversion. So sales stats, real quick numbers for those of you that don't understand the sales game. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. Now, this is really, really an important number because 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect at all. 12% will make 3 contacts and then stop. Most importantly, only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. So think about your process. When a lead comes in, what are you doing to follow up? Who's calling on the leads? Are you expecting the lead to call you? Again, going back to this, if you're only making 1 contact, think about only 2% of your leads converting. So if a new lead, Amanda Jones, comes in, she's looking for braces for her son. Are you only reaching out once, or are you reaching out a number of times to get them booked? Once they're booked, are you reaching out to make sure they show? These are things that are important. But again, understand that your front desk might only be making a few contacts. They might only be making that 1 call. They might only be making 2 calls. Most people are not going to make more than 3 contacts, which means that, again, they're only going to make 10% of the sales. So just think about how important it is to have continued messaging to the prospects. So it does get worse for dentists because about 50 to 60% of inbound leads do go unconverted. 90% of web form submissions fail to convert. So really what we're finding is that most dental practices specifically do a really lousy job of follow-up and pushing for a new consultation. It seems to be a lot different because, quite frankly, you have somebody that's working with you in the back that's also working the front and trying to generate the leads for you, or follow up on the leads. So dentists and orthodontists, more than anybody else, seem to not understand the whole sales process. So we always try and educate our clients on exactly why it's important. Something else that's important is leads that are not followed up within 15 minutes go cold. The average customer must be followed up with 5 to 7 times before booking, as we talked about. Today's consumer prefers to interact via text message versus phone call or email. I don't know about you, but I know me specifically, I try to, I'm an outgoing person. I'm very engaging in my belief. So I don't mind getting on a phone, but a lot of people that I engage with really don't like getting on phones. They don't want to be visible. They don't want to be, share their email. They don't want to do a lot of stuff. So it's really hard to engage them. But when they're looking for a service, they're usually going to provide their best contact info. So if they're looking for somebody to provide a valuable service to them, they're going to give you their best phone number. They're going to give you their best email. From there, it's best to make the interactions on multiple delivery points. And what I mean by that is text. You want a phone call. You want an email. You want to hit them up via Messenger, because you don't know what your consumer prefers to engage you with. But really nowadays, especially with the millennials, it's all about text messaging. It's all about direct messaging, stuff like that. So you want to make sure you're engaging them that way. So the solution simply is leverage marketing automation to follow up with web forms within the first 2 minutes of a submission via phone, email, text message, voicemail drop, messenger. There's so many different ways to reach out to them, but you want to make sure you do it fast. And then you want to make sure that you do it 5 times or more to make sure that you're engaging them. I recommend text messaging as a great place to do it. So make sure that you're utilizing that. And if you don't, talk to me. I can show you how to do it very easily. So this makes every lead you generate very much more valuable to you. And again, as we talked about the math, and I know the question was asked earlier, how do we know conversion rates and stuff like that? If you're just looking at simple numbers, the number of leads coming into a practice at 50 new leads, if your conversion rate's 10% versus 50%, whether you have a normal follow-up sequence or an automated follow-up sequence, it can make a difference between consultations getting booked at 5 or 25. And obviously with more booked consultations and an average ticket, 5 starts at $3,500 is $17,500. 25 starts at $3,500 is $87,500. So just do the math. As you continue to generate leads for your practice, it's not just about how many leads can I generate, it's what am I doing once that lead comes in, because the more you convert, the more money you can actually spend on more leads. Because the more people that convert, the easier it is for you to profit and make revenue. And at the end of the day, the person that can spend the most on their advertising generally gets the most clients. It's just a simple math. So let's talk about implementing this into your business. Generally speaking, I know that this is probably going to show some overwhelm, but basically what happens is, when somebody does submit a lead, whether it be through a search or a Facebook ad or something like that, what we need to do is we make sure that we're taking them through a process. We capture their information. We try and get some specific questions asked if needed, like to make sure they qualify. If you only accept a certain few types of insurance, you want to make sure that you ask those questions before they show up. You want to make sure they get booked into your calendar. And then again, you want to be firing off different types of messaging, whether it be voicemail, whether it be sending videos, whether it's before and afters, about the practice, about the doctor. What's the process? What insurance companies do we work with? What financial responsibilities are you going to have? What are the results? What have other patients said? Here's the testimonials page. These things can all be done via automation. It does require setup one time, but can be very, very valuable to your practice. So action items. What 3 conversion elements will you implement on your website? Will you make sure that there's a phone number? Will you make sure that there's a Facebook page or a Facebook symbol to go to your Facebook page? Will you make sure there's chat? Will you make sure there's a video? Up to you what you do. There's hundreds of different conversion elements, but what are you going to do to make sure your website converts better? That's what I want you to take away from this. So we're wrapping things up here. Taking away, there are some important things that I want to talk about. But what are you learning? What do you notice? What would you like to share? Feel free to ping me in the comments. But now let's get into the details and tracking those KPIs. What do you need to track, and how do you do that? So, what should you track? The best and most important things you want to track is first total leads. What types of leads are they? Meaning, where are they coming from? Are they coming in through Facebook? Are they coming in through Google? Are they just general web submissions? Are they phone calls? Are they chat submissions? How many leads did we get each month, and what types of leads were they? Average cost per lead generated. Now, this is going to be easier for some platforms to track and more difficult for others. But if I know that I spent $1,000 on Facebook, I can see that I got 35 leads through Facebook and do the simple math. If I spent X amount of dollars on Google ads, I can see how many leads came in through Google. Search engine optimization is a little bit more difficult, but I just generally call that website conversion. So understanding what your lead costs are and what your conversion rate is next. So once a lead comes in, how many of those Facebook leads converted? Now, this does require understanding who the person is that came in through Facebook, and did they start? And then how much money did they make? Did they convert, and how much did it generate for my practice? So a simple dashboard to measure KPIs to me is your total leads, your total invested, your cost per lead. what gets measured gets done. A simple thing like this would be really valuable. I offer this to all of my clients free of charge. You can see how many opportunities came in. If we got 35 leads in the pipeline, $119,000 is in the pipeline. $21,000 of it closed. We have $84,000 open. Conversion rate, 17%. These are important things for you to see. It's important to see where they are in that pipeline. So are they a new lead? Did you leave a message for the patient? Are they booked? Has a treatment plan started? These are all things that I think are really critical. It doesn't require a lot to track this stuff, but this is the stuff that can help you understand what your conversion rate is. And going back to the doctor's question earlier, what do we do to get the lead percentages? This is it. It's tracking those numbers. How do we track the leads? Real simple. There's a lot of tools out there we can help you with. But again, just recapping what we've talked about so far is set a clear goal and a target for 2021, making sure that you have clarity around your market, your message, and your media, making sure that our website is optimized for conversion, and we've set up a simple KPI tracking dashboard. Now, again, this can be set up in an Excel spreadsheet. It doesn't need to have any beautiful, beautiful tracking interface. It can literally be total leads in one column, types of leads in another, average cost per lead, the lead conversion rate. These are real simply done in an Excel spreadsheet, and I recommend, if you're not working with me, that you do that on your own. Where are we here? So key trends. What should we look for in 2021? So the key trends for 2021, in my eyes, and I like to think that I'm an expert in this, is the shift from phone conversion to message conversion. Again, what we're seeing on our end is the phone calls are going down and the messages are going up for new customers. Now, I'm not saying that people aren't going to book their time through a phone. What I am telling you is they want to find out more information about you through messages. So you're going to find that less people are going to call the office, and you need to make sure you have systems in place for direct messaging on your social media outlets. You need to make sure that there's a text messaging platform that gets to a front desk individual so that people can respond to say, yes, little Bobby does have an appointment at 4 o'clock today, because people are going to be less likely to confirm or ask questions via the phone anymore. You must have an all-in perspective, which means don't go and just dip your toe into the marketing pool. What you need to do is be marketing on multiple platforms, because now more than ever, people are starting to fractionalize their marketing, the way they take in information. So just a simple way to look at this is think about years ago how many people just bought television ads because people engaged and watched television. Well, now they have cable television, they have broadcast television. But beyond that, there's about 800, and there's probably thousands of cable channels. So it's not just buying cable, it's, do I buy HGTV? Do I buy ESPN? Do I buy, Food Network? What is your customer avatar watching in that particular platform? And then beyond that, now, we've got people jumping off of cable TV and regular TV, and now they're doing Hulu, now they're doing Netflix, now they're doing so there's so many different ways that people are consuming their media that you can't just say, hey, I'm only going to do Facebook. If you're not doing Facebook and Instagram, which should be done automatically if your agency's doing what they're supposed to do, then you're in trouble. If you're not doing any kind of Google ads, you're only doing Facebook ads. How come? Or is the advertising you're doing now not generating enough return on investment to extend into other platforms? Are you doing retargeting? Are you doing SEO? Are you doing YouTube ads? Those are something that you should be looking at for 2021, because that's what the industries that are going to dominate. So let's build your plan real simply. Again, talking about SEO. Are you doing SEO or not? If you're not doing SEO in any way, shape, or form, shame on you, because quite frankly, the most leads or most visits that come to the website are coming in through organic traffic, meaning somebody's literally typing in, braces near me, dental practice near me, orthodontic practice that does this, implant, blah, 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 city name. What you need to do is make sure that you have, first of all, an organic presence, which is SEO, and then you need to make sure you have a paid ad as well. What we find is even people that are doing both, the vast majority of their traffic still comes from organic, meaning people are skipping the ads on Google and clicking the organic listings. Now that could be in your maps section. It could be the area below the maps section. But what we need to do is make sure that we are optimizing our website, and then we optimize our off-site search engine optimization, which is again going to talk about, citations, link building, strong copy in your local maps area. Then we need to talk about paid search, again, Google ads, Bing ads. We're going to be talking about retargeting and social media advertising, whether it's on Google, Facebook, Instagram. Once somebody visits your website, are you retargeting with another message? Is that message different than the initial message? Best thing you can do when somebody visits your website is retarget them with a personal message on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube with a message from the doctor. Introducing yourself, talking about your practice. This can be shot on an iPhone or a Samsung. It can be a simple, screen grab from your laptop. The more you show your face, the more they get familiar with your brand, the more likely they are to know, like, and trust you and engage with you. So make sure you're doing that. From there, what are we doing to get repeat customers? Are we doing email marketing? Are we doing social media follow-ups, again, to our customers, offering a value add to them? Are we doing any networking referrals, meaning in-network? Are you talking to other doctors that are in and outside of your area? I know that a lot of you guys get referrals from other practices and networks. Are you doing enough to those people? What are you offering them? Do you have an actual marketing strategy for network referrals? Paid online directories, Yelp, Yellow Pages, 1-800-Dentist, Healthgrade, stuff like that. Are you doing anything to grab people? People go to those platforms and they are looking for services. Are you reaching those people? Patient referral program, again, can you, first of all, offer gift cards or any kind of rewards program? And if you can, are you doing that? I know certain states, have very tight restrictions on what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do to generate patient referrals from other people, but are you doing that kind of stuff? And again, that's really what we need to be looking at is the whole plan. So action items, what are your top 3 internet marketing initiatives that you need to implement to hit your 2021 goal? This is stuff you should be writing down. This is stuff that you need to be on target with. Takeaways, what did you learn? What did you notice? What would you like to share? If there's anything that you feel that I didn't cover that you'd like to cover, please let me know in chat. What we covered today, set goals for 2021, how many leads you need to hit to get your target, fundamentals of marketing success, optimizing your website, the big picture on all the marketing channels that you need to be tapping in to maximize your lead flow. The latest trends, we talked about that. Developed a custom action plan based on where you are now and what you need to do now. And what I mean by that is that's that worksheet. That's that goal sheet. And then identifying through, hopefully you've been writing down your action items. That is what I'm talking about with a custom plan. And if you want to walk through that with me, I'm happy to do that. But again, we need to build that custom plan through this worksheet. Again, orthoadvertising.com/worksheet. Get it, work through that plan. There's a couple different pages on that thing actually. So one of the things that I didn't cover was the overall budget allocations, and that's going to be a sheet that looks like this. So on the left side, you'll see lead generation target, budget allocations. Where do I need to be on a monthly basis? And you can work with these numbers based on the stuff that's at the top. Where do I need to be for SEO, for Google, Facebook, Instagram ads, display, retargeting? These are just the basic fundamentals. There are more pieces, but again, if my goal is to hit $5 million, I need to spend a decent chunk of change in my online marketing throughout the year. I need to spend a decent amount on my offline marketing, on repeat business. This is a good breakdown. If I'm not spending any money on SEO and I expect to hit 5 million, then I better have one heck of a repeat business network. Because generally speaking, to reach those goals, you need to be spending about 70 grand a year on that. So again, that can be worked out on your own time. I don't want to spend the time for you guys here. Go to get the checklist. I do have a checklist here at orthoadvertising.com/checklist. That will give you kind of a checklist of things that we talked about or didn't even get to that will walk you through things like how to optimize your site for SEO, how to make sure that your site's optimized for Google Maps or your practice is optimized for Google Maps, Do you have tracking in place? What to do? All those things. And then orthoadvertising.com/keywords. This is going to be specific to orthodontics, but if you need a different keyword list for your practice, shoot me an email or text message. Again, that's going to be in the chat. We can get through that. Josh, sorry, when you talk about SEO, what do you feel are best practices for working with this portion of the marketing world? It changes every day, and keeping up with the trends can be time intensive. Do you know any services that make it easier to keep up with? Josh, I know we talked yesterday. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by working with this portion of the marketing. If you're talking about SEO, we offer SEO services to our clients. If you want, I can talk to you about what we do. We have an actually really, really cool called our Ortho RX tool. Remember about that thing where we talked about having a unique mechanism. Our unique mechanism is the Ortho RX tool for this. But really, our tool can dominate the local market for SEO. And it's really, really cool. I can walk you through it. I can show you how we've done it for other clients. We do it for ourselves as well. The key is dominating with a keyword. And again, as we're on the most commonly searched keywords, generally this tool can optimize for keyword and location for your practice. And that's really the key, because most people are going to type in, I'm in Philadelphia, but locally I'm in a town called Berwyn. So most people aren't going to type in braces Philadelphia or orthodontist Philadelphia or Invisalign Philadelphia or clear aligners Philadelphia. They're going to type in somebody close to them. So they're going to type in, like, I'll just name the local areas within 5 minutes of me. They're going to type in braces Berwyn, braces Devon, braces Paoli, braces King of Prussia, braces Wayne. So most people think, oh, well, I'm in Berwyn, my practice is in Berwyn, I just need to be optimized for braces Berwyn. Well, in reality, people come from probably 5, 10, 15 miles to do business with you. And I know, Josh, for your business specifically, you guys go to them. How far is your marketing area? How far are you willing to travel? So if you'll go to somebody 30 minutes away and you're not optimizing for that town name with your service, mobile orthodontics and a town name 15 minutes away, then you're really not doing a good enough job marketing with SEO. And so a lot of SEO companies only try and dominate for the local area. We really try and dominate for like all those keywords and geographic targets. And I can share that with you, when we jump on a call. But great question, and it is critical that you do start to do that. Hopefully, I covered a little bit of what you're looking to do. But yeah, awesome, thanks, good, cool. So what it starts with is, again, getting those keywords and starting to understand. If you don't use me for SEO or our company for SEO, understand what you need to optimize for and what people are searching for. That's the top list of keywords that people are searching for. So it's really, what I'll do is I'll show you kind of what this list looks like. Real quick, it's going to be, and again, this is in alphabetical order, but it's going to talk about braces and smiles, clear orthodontics, braces with Medicaid. I know you guys don't like that. Dental braces near me, cost of orthodontics. There's a ton of different keywords. Orthodontic clinic near me, traditional braces cost, stuff like that. So what we do is we maximize all the positions for you in all those keywords and the town names. It's a real cool tool. But those are the things that you need to start to cherry pick. Hey, if I'm doing it myself, what do I need to rank for? What are the keywords I want to show up for? And we can go from there. So let's talk. Again, I know a couple of you guys have stayed on so far, have done this already. orthoadvertising.com/book-a-call. Please jump on the phone with me, or we'll jump on a Zoom call. I can share my screen. We can pull up your website. We can talk about all the stuff we talked about today specific to you. I'm happy to help. Really, if you don't end up doing business with me, I'd love a testimonial for doing that time and investing that time. But either way, I'm happy to share my time with you to try and make sure you're getting the best results. So that's it. We're about an hour and 3 minutes here. I do appreciate all the time you spent with me. Again, there will be an email sent to you guys with the full recording. I will also make sure that you have all these links so that you can download all these tools. I'm grateful for the time that you spent with me. I hope you kick butt in 2021, whether it's with me or with another agency or on your own. If there's any questions, text me, email me, hit me up via book a call. I'm grateful again for your time today, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share this with you. We will be doing new webinars in the future on different topics, so hopefully we'll be sharing that with you as well. I'll stay around for a couple minutes if anybody has any questions or anything like that. Otherwise, again, thanks so much for your time. We're done covering what we need to. Thank you. Appreciate you spending the time with me today, Josh. My pleasure, Becca. Again, looking forward to speaking with you soon. Again, if there's any questions, don't hesitate to hit me up via text, email. You guys have all my contact. I know I've talked with everybody that's still on here, so it's been a pleasure working with you already, and I'm looking forward to doing more. And great, I'll talk to you guys soon. So Becca, Josh, just hit me up. Thanks so much.